Horry County, May the 24th, 2016. If we could, please, we'll ask Mr. Graves to do the invocation and Mr. Campbell do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Please bow your heads. Dear Lord, thank you for our many blessings. Thank you for the beautiful area that you allow us to live. Thank you for peace, and thank you for our peacekeepers. And thank you for our opportunity to support and further your good works. Amen.
Amen.
Let's face the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you very much. On the approval of the agenda, before we take a motion, I noticed that under the approval of the minutes, it has May 24th, 2016. That actually should read April the 26th, the regular meeting of the minutes. Everybody see that?
Yep.
So we'll need to make that change on the agenda, and then we'll accept the motion to approve the agenda as amended. We have a motion?
Second.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. We'll approve the agenda as amended, and then the approval of the minutes, it'll be for the April the 26th, 2016 regular meeting.
So moved.
A motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
And a second on the approval of the minutes. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll approve the minutes for the April the 26th, 2016 regular meeting. We had no request for public input, so we'll move into the departmental updates. Jamie, I think you're going to pinch hit tonight for Miss Esther. Is that the truth?
That's correct.
All right, we're happy to have you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'll start off by talking about the Talking Trash update. May of this year, on the 17th, 18th, and 19th, the Talking Trash program concluded with the grand finale trips for the 3 top recycling schools. Those 3 schools were South Conway Elementary, Seaside Elementary, and Lakewood Elementary. They got their fun-filled trip to the Fun Warehouse, paid in full by the Solid Waste Authority. 4th grade this year for the year collected 102.1 tons of newspaper, metals, and plastics, and that was a 12.7% increase from last year. So that's pretty good. And if y'all see the picture on page 14, you'll see Mr. Graves, his wife, and their son.
If I may interrupt you, we had a fabulous time. Victoria and Kendra did a fabulous job, and of course Cecil and Esther and all the staff that was there. I was only there on the Seaside day where my son goes, but it was fabulous and a just reward for some hard work that these students did throughout the year, and I wish everyone could go.
Thank you. Great.
Recycling Student of the Year. May 4th, Horry County Solid Waste Authority recognized the 2016 Student of the Year, Noah Hellaby. Is that correct? Wanted to make sure I got his name right. He's from Myrtle Beach High School. He was awarded this honor and received a prize pack from Solid Waste Authority, valued at $250. Noah is an inspiration to his classmates, school, and community. He's passionate about making and keeping the planet clean and has earned his Eagle Scout badge as part of this effort. Solid Waste Authority was honored to recognize Noah for his demonstrating a willingness to participate to protect tomorrow's environment today. I'd like to introduce him now, and I'd like to just offer him a word if he has anything he'd like to say.
Come on up.
Testing? All right. Hey guys, I'm Noah Hellaby. I want to say, thank you for this honor and for getting this award. And I wanted to tell you how I got it. The way I did was I saw the greenhouse outside of Myrtle Beach High School, and I was wondering why weren't they using it. So I got with the special needs department. I spoke with Mr. Tim to see if we could restore it so it's usable for the high school. So, and then I talked with my Boy Scout troop, 850, and I asked them to help me out with my Eagle Scout project. So we went down there around December, and we cleaned everything up to make it usable for this semester of the high school year. And today it looks very well. You know, I'm glad I did it. And right beside the greenhouse is the lunchroom, so everyone that attends the high school can see the progress that the greenhouse has made, how it went from nothing to something. And that's what I want to say here. So thank you all.
Congratulations. Not only on your award, but on your Eagle Scout badge as well. Congratulations. Fantastic.
Also today, this evening, we have another student we'd like to recognize. Her name is Destiny DeJesus. Is that correct? She didn't make it last month. She's one of the ones that won the environmental scholarship. So in order to win, you have to be present at one of the board meetings. So she's here tonight. And I'd like to also give her a chance if she'd like to say something.
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to thank you guys. I'm sorry I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, so you'll have to excuse me. I'm going to USC in the nursing major, and then I'm going to try to live in this community. It's called the Green Quad. It's like a sustainable living community, and it's like really cool, and you grow your own vegetables, and there's like solar panels instead of, like regular lights and everything like that, and it runs like the hot water and like the heating and everything like that. And yeah, I just wanted to thank you guys and tell you guys a little bit about, what I was going to do with my future and how I was going to use the money and everything. And thank you.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
So congratulations to both of them on their accomplishments. The Recycling Center quarter update, quarter of the month. This month was, or for the quarter ending in March, was Sarvis Recycling Center. That's out on Highway 45 outside of Loris. That's my home center. So I go in there often. Mr. Jack Tribal's full-time attendant there, and he does a real good job of keeping it clean, neat, and helping the customers with any need they may have with recycling. So I'd like to congratulate them on that, and just let y'all know that's who won. Caught green-handed update. Staff recognized Gallivants Ferry residents Kathy Hyatt and her brother Randy Powell. They were caught green-handed at the Aina Recycling Center. And for being caught, they got their prize pack, gift card, and whatever else goodies are in the bag. So picture of them there at the bottom of that page. I know they were happy and they appreciated it. So that's all I have.
Good. Any questions for Jamie? Okay. Thank you so much. All righty. Operations and Planning, Mr. Hilling.
Good evening to everybody. We have some updates that we do every month. First off, our Highway 90 appearance, where we pick up our 8-mile stretch out here on Highway 90. Through 3 quarters, we picked up 197 bags, close to 3,000 pounds of waste. We're a little bit down this year because we've gotten more help from the county. I know they've come out there, I believe, about 3 times during this physical year doing litter pickup, so it hadn't been as much as we normally see out there. But, main thing is keeping the road cleaned up. That's the bottom line. Our driver of the month this month was David Grissett from North Myrtle Beach. We've got his picture and the letter sent to Lent Williams up in North Myrtle. Real cooperative guy, real easygoing, works with staff out there, especially on solid waste, really good. So we were really tickled to recognize him this month. Food waste update. We finally had some compost ready to go to the U.S. Compost Council the middle of March. Ms. Todd sent that off. We had sent it to Midwest Labs and also sent it to the U.S. Compost Council. Finally, about mid-April, we got approved for the STA program, which is the Seal of Testing Assurance. So we've got our stuff back, and we are now approved by the U.S. Compost Council. They will not in any way endorse us, but they have approved our product out there. So we've got that set up now for resale. Smart Recycling has come in and got a couple loads from us out there and taken it back to the schools. The ones that we're getting most of it from, of course, most of what we get from them is kind of slop and a lot of milk cartons like we all had when we were in elementary school. Those little small milk cartons there. But eventually they do break down. And so we've got the compost out there, so they've taken it back. So I know I think some of the elementary kids where they've taken it are now growing more vegetables out there. And we've probably had now, maybe talking with the guys out there, maybe another 6 to 10 people come in. And, you know, whether they want, as I said in the staff meeting today, do they want regular gas or high test? They want the regular compost, or they want the enhanced, the premium out there. So we've got 6 to 10 outside customers that have come in and got it. So you can see we've got a couple pictures here I put in. First off, you can see the compost. It looks real good in the picture. Looks like good topsoil. And we've got our signage out there. The second picture, you can see where it just says enhanced compost out there. And we've got that next to both of our glass piles, our mulch, and our regular compost out there. So when people come through the scale house, a lot of people want to come in and just look to see what we've got to sell out there. Scale house will tell them, go look at it. When you're ready, come back and weigh in. So
The bugs are doing their job.
they're doing the job out there, yes, sir. So we're pleased with what's going on. They're heating it up and getting it ready out there. Our last thing is on our carpet recycling update. If you remember, Esther really worked hard to get us a grant for the concrete pad for our carpet building out there. And then we came to the board, we needed a little bit more. And thankfully, you know, we got the approval for that. So we moved forward with our building. And we've got a picture in here. I don't know if you've seen it yet for our facility, but we've got the carpet facility up. And Wellman is really tickled. We've emailed them pictures of it. Their big thing, they wanted the carpet dry. It helps their process when they start, especially unloading from the trucks. When it's real soaked and wet, it just really caused a lot of problems for them. So now we've got dry carpet to give to them. Just wanted to kind of tell you a little bit what we've done. We started this program in May of 2012 when we opened up the C&D processor out there. Wellman had come in and said, hey, we'll bring you a trailer in. We'll haul it for free. All you have to do is load it up. They're making car parts. Since we started the program, you can see in the board pack, we've recycled 1,294 tons, but the cool number out of that's 2.5 million pounds of carpet in 4 years. 2.5 million pounds. That's not padding or anything like that. That's just carpet that we've taken down to Wellman, down the road. So saved about 15 days of airspace in 4 years, but you know, it's like a penny. You get 5, you got a nickel. It starts to all add up. So anyway, that was, started putting a report together, and that number really stood out. And so we wanted to share that with you. And been pleased, and I think, you know, Wellman's pretty happy, especially now. We sent them the email with the building on it. One word answer, awesome. You know, they were glad to see it. So anyway, picture of the building is in your board report. Anytime you want to come on out, take a look, be glad to take you around for a tour and let you see what we have going on right now.
One thing that's amazing about this carpet is we haven't heard much jumping up and down about all these days that we're saving, but we sure heard a lot about them 3 days a couple of months ago. So, and we all look at every way we can is saving landfill space.
It is amazing, and I'm glad that you are saving everything that you're doing now. You're almost saving days every month. And if you save 10, 12 days a year over the life of our 30 years, that's almost a year of landfill space in one thing. that you're doing. So if you multiply that times what we have here, that's an amazing amount of space.
And the carpet thing too, it's real aggravation for the guys on the compactor. Gets wrapped around the wheels and, it's real aggravating. So as much as that, we can keep out of that hill up there, take it down there to Wellman. And, they've been, up till now for 4 years, they've been just so good to work with.
And I think everyone in Odie County should have a new TV and a new mattress and new carpet, because I tell you what,
Come through, huh?
it comes through.
That's right.
Mr. Hilling, I also want to commend you and Ms. Todd on your job at the presentation at the SWANA conference. Y'all did a fantastic job. I appreciate y'all representing the Solid Waste Authority well.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any questions for Mr. Hilling, Operations and Planning? Okay, thank you very much. Finance Administration, Ms. Bidding.
Good afternoon. My reports begin on page 33. I'm going to begin on page 34. Of course, now we're through, like I said, we're through the month of April, and at this point, we should be at about 83% of budget. Looking at the middle of the page, as you can see, our solid waste is currently at a little over 89% of budget. Our mixed construction is at a little over 99% of budget. Our yard waste is at a little over 81% of budget. So we're definitely, like I said, staying right on with our tipping fees ahead of the game, definitely with those, especially with our mixed construction. Our solid waste has got a little over 8% increase over last year at the same time. Mixed construction, a little over 14% increase. And our yard waste is down about 7% over last year. As you can see on the tipping fees as compared to last year, we do see a little over 11% increase, which is right at $901,000 in tipping fee revenue that we're seeing over last year. So we're doing a good job with our tipping fees. We're staying ahead of budget, which is great. On the bottom of the page, you can see that our C&D processing facility year-to-date, I talk about days of airspace, saved a little over 51 days of airspace. The C&D material that's being taken out of the facility over our recycling facility, taken over to Sandlands, has saved a little over 8 days of airspace. And our materials recycling facility, in conjunction with the collection hauling program, has saved a little over 57 days of airspace. As you can see, the C&D processing facility, their revenue year-to-date, $257,333.49, with their expenses being $376,254.16. The materials recycling facility, along with the collection and hauling program, the revenue year-to-date is $3,865,800, and their expenses are $4,676,133.20. I'd like to flip over to page 36, which is our income statement. As you can see, our total revenue is at 86.22% of budget, and our expenses are at 80.69% of budget. As you can see, like I said, staff is continuing to do a good job of watching their expenses. I think last month that was a little bit closer percentage, and as you can see with the increase in revenues, also the savings of expenses, we're doing a very good job. As you can see, for month to date, our revenue over expenses were $287,828.23, and year to date, we have revenue over expenses of $1,139,398.56. One line item I'd just like to point out under the non-operating revenue under other, you'll see we have $87,000 that we received in revenue that much this month. $84,000 of it, almost $85,000, was revenue that we received from Charleston. How we bill them monthly, just wanted to point that out to let you know that, of course, they are paying the bills that we're sending to them. They're keeping up to date on that. So we've worked quite well with them. I'm going to jump over to page 49, which is the MRF update. We did have a good month. We had a very positive month. We're still moving in a positive direction. Just reminding you that we were down several days during the month of April. And so, like I said, just wanted to remind you that even though we were down, we still did, like I said, move in a positive direction. As you can see, the biggest part of that, if you look at the average price for the month for the commodities, was $146.17. Last month, it was $125.36. So that average price going up, helping on the commodities, definitely helped with the material that we did sell this month. As you can see, The tonnage sold was 2,391.49 tons. Last month, we sold 2,994.92 tons. As you can see, a difference of about 600 tons that we were not able to sell this month due to the fact that we were down, and we were only taking our material during the time that we were down. We were not taking anything from Charleston. So that made a big difference. If that additional 600 tons had been sold during the month, we could have seen about another $87,000 in revenue this month. As you can see, if you move to the middle of the page, you can see that, of course, the tonnage that we received from Charleston was only 2,256 tons, where last month we received 3,249 tons. I just want to show you that that's where our biggest decrease was in tonnage this month. As you can see, there was no cost share for the month in the revenue due from Charleston, and of course that has to do with that average market price. If it's below $135, then there's a cost share. And of course, with it being at $146.17, there was no cost share for this month. The total MRF revenue for the month of April was $351,763.26. The MRF expenses for the month were $323,515.70, leading us in a positive direction of $28,247.56 for the month. Year-to-date, we're now at a positive $81,425.74. At the bottom of the page, just want to point out to you that the rejects that were hauled back to Charleston for the month, 289.72 tons, and we had 215.38 tons that were hauled from our C&D recycling facility over to Sandlands. Last thing I have for you is the quarterly transfer, which is on page 57. Last quarter, we had a deficit, if you remember, and so I had requested that the money be taken back out of the designated construction and development account, which is just the general construction and development account. This month, we do have money that we can transfer back out. We were in the positive. So my recommendation is that we transfer the money back into that account. And as you can see at the bottom of the page, what that does through the end of March is it does leave a positive going into that account of $18,878. And so I just need board's approval to make that transfer.
Chair will accept the motion to accept staff's recommendation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll do that.
Any questions?
Any further questions from Ms. Bidding?
Thank you. Oh,
Just wanted to say you did an excellent job at INR, and you make my job on the Finance Committee easy because you're already telling everyone what's going on in the Finance Committee. Thank you.
that's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bidding. Appreciate it. Mr. Bessent.
Good afternoon.
Hello.
I want to give y'all a little bit about the MRF, what's been going on at the MRF. As y'all can well aware, we were down to about 6 total days. We were down some with C&B Manufacturing last month. And we were, after we got up and running, we were down 1 day this month. So we did have it to go back down and had to work on it some more on the electronics of it. We've been working Saturdays to make up the difference with Charleston that we didn't, to try to get their material off the ground. We won't be working this Saturday. It's hard enough to get people to come in on Saturdays when it's not a holiday. But this week being a holiday, we're not going to work Saturday, but, you know, our normal operating hours on Monday will be normal. On Memorial Day, it's a working holiday for the Solid Waste Authority. So I think Danny said when he first come to work here, he couldn't believe he had to work on Memorial Day. It's the first one he ever had to work.
And I've worked them ever since.
Yeah. So we'll all be here on Monday, working dead ahead at it. We should have Charleston caught up by the 3rd of June. Their material caught back up and processed. Got a lot on the floor right now and working hard every day to try to get it caught up. Our biggest problem right now is because we're working 6 days a week trying to get it all shipped out. We had 8 loads of cardboard on. We have the ability to hold about 150 bales of cardboard. We had about 300 bales as of this afternoon. So we got it stuck in every hole we can stick it in. We can't put it outside because if it rains on it, it ruins it, and we have to sell it domestically and can't sell it to export. So we're busting at the seams with it right now. We're trying to get it all out as quickly as possible. Also, our glass machine is down and we're not operating it. We're doing some maintenance on it and should have it totaled back up maybe by Monday. The delay on that was the ability to get the parts we needed to redo it. So that's pretty much where we're at on that. At the Murph, and I'll try to answer any questions anybody's got on that.
Mr. Besson, what was the cause of the additional day that we were down after the repairs were done?
Kind of technical thing, but you got starters in there, and when we had that surge or short that went through the system, and we can talk about that a little bit deeper later on, but it weakens the electrical parts in it. So we felt like another part was weakened in it, and when it got to running and run a few days, that part went out. So we had to locate where that was at and then to fix it. It's like anything else, if it takes a power surge or a short in the system, electrical system, stuff gets weakened, and we found a part that was weakened, and once they got that fixed and back up, we got it up and running. We hadn't had any problems this week at all. We've run dead ahead all week without anything at all.
I just wanted to say that y'all have done a good job out there. I appreciate you having a plan A, B, and C and keeping Charleston's out, making sure ours went through, even though you had to do a lot of it by hand. But I think y'all were really on it, and you've done a good job. Thank you.
Well, we feel out there that, and staff here at Solid Waste Authority feels that Horry County is the first one in line to get the service if it's available, and everybody, if you got anything extra, everybody else can have so much.
Any other questions for Mr. Besson? Thank you. Mr. Knight?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First thing on the agenda is about the board appointments. Mr. Campbell was reappointed by County Council at their last meeting. And there was another name for Mr. Long's seat. He goes off a couple of months, and council needed more discussion about that name, so we're waiting to see what county council may do. Update on the SWANA convention. I too, like the chairman, would like to thank Bill and Stephanie for they kicked the convention off. They were the first people doing presentations. And I must say that another county did a presentation, and they were proud that they did one collection a year, and we do one a month. And I think Stephanie said that there were cars lined up back out to the highway waiting to get in. So it's got to be very popular with people. And we also got so many unsolicited comments about the Solid Waste Authority from other speakers during their presentation, and I mean, we didn't ask for them. They just, even the girl that was doing household hazardous waste from upcountry kept talking about the program that we had. Another note about, there was over 190 people signed up for this convention, and what was so amazing, about 10% of those were young executives, as they call, and it's good to see the young people getting involved, and young women getting involved in our programs. The biggest push coming on the state level and the national level is the safety programs that they're trying to push. Solid waste is the number 5 worst business to be in on accidents and people getting hurt. And they said that the new executive director from SCANA says, we hit everything this year except the lottery. So we do have a lot of accidents, and Bill and Nestor are already using some of their information, that Scanners is putting out. So, it was good to go, and I hope we all learned a little bit from the workshop. Another point, thing I'd like to bring up, in the budget this year, and it's not on the agenda, we budgeted money to do paving and work around the shop, aprons up there. We budgeted $200,000, and the bids have come in. This is all the stuff from Vance Moore, has reviewed them. And we would like, I'd just like to make you aware of it so we can go ahead and get started. The bids came in higher than 2, but King gave us an alternate where we could save some money, so we can come in under budget. And this is gonna be Rich and Bill's program. Why don't y'all just kind of mention what we are gonna be doing and from what location?
This will be over at the shop over there. If you've been over there, we get a lot of rain. It really gets muddy. It's a terrible area, in all honesty, but we're gonna kind of muck all that out in front of the shop. It's gonna be reconcreted. Our truck crossing out there will be dug up, and concrete will be put on both sides of that to level that off. I know that's something Mr. Knight's wanted for a while. And also, we're gonna be doing some of the area going toward the scale house out there, where over time, it's just really settled with the loaded trucks coming in. So we're gonna be doing some repaving out there. But the biggest part of the project is concreting where the trucks all go into repair over at the operations center. And that'll be taken all the way out to the main road, and including the truck crossing.
Can you tell us what the VE items were that allowed you to reduce the overall cost?
The truck crossing was the biggest one right there. That was originally gonna be asphalted, and it was gonna take about 3 days to do it, because we were gonna have to do it in layers. King came to us and wanted to put concrete with extra strength concrete in there to beef it up. And so come in, and it's just one time in. So you have a lot of labor and equipment moving around that you're saving right there. That was the biggest. And also doing the same thing going toward the scale house out there. So it took a lot of the asphalt out and even though concrete costs a lot, it's just the amount of labor and time and equipment time that we're saving on right there.
Good, thank you.
And we will proceed with the project. Garrett Moore will be here tomorrow, and we'll finalize the documents and everything, and go ahead and get started. And that's pretty much all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Knight. I would just like to commend all the staff, because being at the SWANA conference, the level of respect for our staff from top to bottom is very evident, and I think that speaks to the professionalism of the entire staff, and it's evident in the reputation that our organization has throughout the industry, and I just applaud you for your good works, continued good works.
I agree with you at both conferences. Even the DHEC, people that work for DHEC, we're telling people what a cut above the staff has done at this landfill than anyone else's. In Wilmington, the South Carolina Department of Commerce, the people working there knew Esther and knew the other staff members here that worked well with them, and they were very impressed with the work they did. I also enjoyed the conference because, to me, if I can see how something is done, and they do have a lot of pictures there on how they do their drainage, their landfills, and everything that they do. And it's a lot easier for me to understand what y'all are doing and how you're doing it and the questions that I may need to ask. And I'm glad that the staff was there. Danny might not have been. He sat next to me most of that, and I kept asking him questions. Are we doing this? Do we do it this way? Would we need to do this way? Do we need to change anything? So it is very informative to me to go to those, and I always enjoy DHEC or the South Carolina Department of Commerce or other landfills when they tell us that our landfill is done better than most of any they've ever seen. So I thought it was an excellent conference. Thank you.
Let me say too, I told Ms. Creech at one of the breaks, you know, different engineers, not our engineer, different construction company, different people talk about failures and projects and everything. And I told her, I said, I feel more confident about our, the piggyback that we're doing now, the design, how it's being done, the closure that we did last year and the new road that we did. I feel a lot better. I felt good about it before I went, but I really felt good about it after hearing a lot of people speak about some of the failures and what happened there, and we've already taken a stand to keep a lot of that stuff from happening here. And one being the gas venting system that Ms. Creech picked up on last year. And in talking with Vance, he said, yeah, that would make a better project. And I think he feels real good now that we went ahead and did that part of it also. So we all learn when we go to these things, and learn some things to do and learn some things not to do.
I agree. I know a lot of times when they're showing you a failure or what they've had, and I'll say to our staff again, if there's anything that we're doing that we could do differently, because you're in there hands-on and we don't see it as much. I enjoyed looking at it there, and some of those people telling us the failure, the products they've used, how they've done it, and the failures they've had do keep us from having that in our landfill, which could potentially cost the taxpayers millions of dollars and some problems that would be hard to solve. And I think we have seen some of those. So I'll say again to the staff, even if it may cost a little bit more, we're here to protect the public and to do our best. We're going to make mistakes as well. But we've learned a lot of things through the conferences I've been to that we know we don't want to do. So if there's anything you feel like we need to do, or that equipment we need to have, or something that you've worked with in the past that isn't working well, please let us know about that. We need to know those things. Thank you.
Rich, don't get your list out tonight.
Any questions?
Billy, even the inspector, the DHEC inspector for the landfill had good things to say about you and your staff and what kind of project we got going here. She was very complimentary.
Thank you. She usually is when she comes in, and she was in today. Everything was good.
And I told one of them, they said, y'all got a neat place. I said, yeah, but there's one problem with that. Every time you get a new inspector, you want to show, let's go to Horry County, and they just drop in and for a couple of days, but we're always ready for them.
I think one thing that helps us is that keeps us on our toes, because we're more scrutinized, I think, than any other landfill in the state. So they're coming in here all the time, so it's like, let's get this, and that keeps us on top.
Absolutely. Any other questions for Mr. Knight? Okay, thank you, Mr. Knight. Committee reports, Finance Administration Committee, Ms. Creech.
Okay, everyone's just about done all of my report, but I'd like to hit a few of the high notes again. At May 17th, our Finance Committee, we try to have one a month, and we try to do it before INR has theirs. The Charleston update was in your package. Jan did an excellent job at INR today with that. As you know, the MRF was down for about 4 days, 2 shifts, and we had to stop taking Charleston, and we were processing our own by hand. The commodities went up. That's one of the reasons I still think that even though we were down the 4 days, that we made over $28,000. And the money above expenses year to date is $81,000. One of the things that we need to talk about, they did inform us about why, whether it was a surge or whatever, that messed up the computers, and our system is outdated. We're having problem getting parts, and one of the things that took so long was how it was set up, and that it was on a landline, and that they couldn't get through to us to talk with us about certain things or to get here to work on it. The CP manufacturing technician was flown in to diagnose and fix the computer system. That was $15,000. We're looking at an upgrade, and if you look in your package, you will see the upgrade and what it actually does, what they were thinking about redoing. I think we were given approximately $144,000 in costs. The staff looked at it, said some of the things we didn't need, so it would be approximately $100,000. We do have this available in a contingency fund, and it's done because of need. Mr. Knight had the authority to do this upgrade. However, he wanted the board to be aware of it and discuss it, and for you to have any questions answered here tonight. So if anyone has any questions about that in their package for Mr. Knight, I'm sure he'll answer that.
And this is updating equipment that's approximately 10 years old.
Right.
That,
And we also need to remember, this equipment needs to be updated every 8 to 10 years, so we need to plan for that in the future, because in another 8 to 10 years, we'll be doing the same thing. It's kind of like your cell phone, only your cell phone doesn't last 8 to 10 years, I
becomes
guess.
obsolete the day you buy
The
it.
day you buy it, it's gone. Mr. Besant?
Mike Campbell does. I got a flip phone, man, the last one.
You know, we talking about the expense and everything for the system. We were down for about 4 days of operating, but all weekend long, the staff worked on that piece of equipment, trying to get it operating for Monday. And then we were down for 4 days after that. They worked hard to do it, but during that time, as Ms. Creech said, we flew somebody down here, made the decision to get somebody in here, fly them in here, and it was $15,000. But we had worked by telephone and every other means with CP to try to get that thing up before we decided to fly them down here. And every hour we stayed on the phone with them, sometimes late in the night, starting back early in the morning. There were several times that, one time night, about 3 o'clock in the morning, I just said, boys, it's time to go home. You know, it's time to quit. Let's go home. They worked hard at trying to fix it, but all that phone time with CP is at $200 an hour. We had to buy a lot of parts, labor. We estimating that total down time with parts and phone time, not including the $15,000 travel time, is going to run us about $45,000. $15,000 of that being to fly them in here. Then we had to go back. We added up. I had Richie to add up the parts and what we'd bought. And I realized when we ship things, we said we want them next morning. But typically we'd have got them a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the road. So we had to do air rush to get them here, because every day we were down, it costed us more. And the way the system is set up is basically like these lights in here. If you can imagine one of these light bulbs going out, and every light in here went out. Yeah, just like your Christmas tree. Every light went out. Then you had to go through every one of those lights to figure out which one was causing the problem. And what we're asking the board to do or is to allow us to upgrade the electrical system so that if that light bulb, that bulb on that one bulb goes out, we know to go to that, we can find out to go to that specific place. That we can isolate it where it's at. I mean, you got a bank of things in that thing that's starters and relays and wires and everything in it that we had to go through every one of them. And some of them, there was no way to test them to find out if they were bad, because CP couldn't tie in, and every time they'd try to tie into the telephone system and tie it in, they'd get static. But when they got static, they couldn't get a good reading on it. So that wasn't doing them any good, but they'd say, well, go try this and try this and try this. And we tried it and tried it and tried it. Eventually had to get them down here where they actually plugged the computer into the laptop, plugged it into the system and started diagnosing. Within a day, they already had parts of it running. And we need that ability, if, I asked the guy that came, Lloyd, that came in here, I said, there's one thing, just one thing that you would do to this system, what would it be? He said, hook it up to the internet. I could have done all of this from California. I could have done everything I'm doing right here from California.
But even when he hooked up here, it took him 3 days.
Yeah. Well, we found all the things with
Yeah.
3 full days, going through them because we had to order parts and we ordered the parts that we didn't really need, but didn't know if they were bad or not, so we had to order them. And we're asking the board to allow us to upgrade this electrical system. Number one is put a surge detector on it. Number two is get it hooked up to the internet, and then upgrade everything else so that if something goes out, it's isolated. It don't attack the whole system. This surge attacked the whole system. And with this new system, it isolates it, where it don't attack the whole system.
Also, you had told us about a lot of the efficiencies that you would be able to operate quicker and certain things you wouldn't have to do. Will this not be a whole lot more efficient? And it also, if we need to connect other things to it, we can continue to do that.
Yes, ma'am. It also will allow us to do a couple things. Right now, if I need to adjust a certain belt running, the speed of the belt, the incline of the belt, it takes 2 people and me running from the computer mainframe all the way around and checking it out, see if it happened, back around. I had to adjust the lift this morning 3 inches, needed to adjust it because it was doing it. It took me 25 minutes to adjust that 3 inches from me kept running, because if I got it too high, it would have been, got it too low, and I had to keep going down the stairs, back up and back up. This system will allow us to do it from the computer at the desk. You can look at it on the thing, you can take our cameras and adjust it as it needs to be doing. Another thing is that we can print reports. Right now, when it faults out, there's no big reporting, being able to print reports so that we can tell that we got a motor that's faulted out 4 times in 2 days. There's something going on with that motor, and we can go to it and isolate it. Yes, sir.
Sir.
If you had your wish list, as Pam said, while we're doing this, is there anything else that they suggested or you're suggesting that while we're in this, to go ahead and finish it?
We have looked at everything, Mr. Jones. They did recommend what they call a SCADA system. That I didn't see a lot of efficiency for us being such a small operation. If we were doing 10,000 tons a month or 7,000 tons a month, I definitely recommend that we get it. But other than that, we took all the bells and whistles that they recommended, and we think we can do it for 100,000.
Thank you.
And Mr. Besson, I think, could you possibly characterize this as kind of an investment in this equipment? It's not necessarily money that's being spent as something that is just nice to have. I mean, this is kind of an investment in protecting this equipment and our ability to do business going forward.
I totally agree that it is an investment, and I think we'll get our money back out of our investment through increased productivity.
Any other questions for Mr. Best or Mr. Knight? Not?
If not, we had a recommendation that was approved from our committee to the board, and we recommended to the board approve the funds not to exceed $100,000 from the contingency account to upgrade the electrical operating system at the MRF, just to give Mr. Knight a vote of confidence that we feel that's a good suggestion from them, and that we would like for them to go ahead and look into that.
Accept that from Ms. Creech as a form of a motion.
Second.
Second, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Ms. Creech, that completes your report?
It does.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We have no old business on the agenda. Is there any old business that we know of?
Just one question. When we went to at me. We went to, I think it was Florida. The lady that we talked with, Mr. Knight, that had something that would totally kill odor. Have we heard from her again?
Yes, ma'am, they came out and, Bill's talked to them, they came by, so we have talked to them, and this product also is what they were talking about in Spartanburg, of being able to take latex paint, mix it up, Portland cement, spread on the landfill, so it might look like a checkerboard, but, it's rather expensive. But we have looked at it, talked with them.
Okay, do you think it's too expensive to consider?
For our budget, yes, it is. I mean, it does cost a lot more. We've tried their basic product, and it really didn't do what we needed to do daily when we spray out there the waste, which we're required to do each day. We get a little bit of moisture, it would run compared to the product that we use now. In order to use that, you also have to buy the Portland cement to mix in there. And so you're putting in a basic mix of Portland cement and a deodorizer. The deodorant, when they came out, it did do pretty well. We put it around one of our containers out there on the landfill where the trucks clean out, and it did take away the odor. But from a cost-wise, it would be very costly for us to, he was gonna get some numbers and put together, but it would be, I'm just gonna guess, probably at least twice what we're paying now for daily cover. Time you put deodorizer and the cement in there.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
And I think what we'll do is pay more attention to the odors, and we've got a sprayer that we can minimize the odor to, so I think we'll be more conscious of that.
Okay, thank you.
Any other old business for the group? Seeing none, under new business, I need to establish a nominating committee for officers for next year. Mr. Campbell, I'd like to ask you to chair that committee, please.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Long, I'd like to ask you to serve on that committee. And Mr. Graves, I'd like to ask you to serve on that committee.
Yes, sir.
All right, if you would, and if y'all will just schedule a meeting and bring back a slate of officers. And at the risk of sounding presumptuous, I'm removing my name for consideration for serving as chairman again. I appreciate the opportunity to serve as your chairman the past year, and I look forward to serving out my term on the board. But I appreciate y'all bringing a slate of officers back to the board.
We should do that.
Thank you. Fiscal year 2017 budget consideration? Ms. Bidding?
Yes.
More numbers, numbers, numbers.
More numbers, I know. Like I said, just asking for the board's approval tonight of our FY16 budget. Like I said, we did hold a budget workshop on April 12th to review the proposed budget. We also presented our budget to the INR committee on April 21st and again to Horry County on April 28th at their budget retreat. The only change, of course, that we've made in our budget is the $150,000 that the county has asked us to put into our budget for a fee study. And so what I did was I transferred the money from the future landfill construction and put it into the general administration divisions for us to have a fee study performed next year. So I'm asking for the board's approval of the FY17 operating budget of $23,929,666 and a capital budget totaling $3,011,750.
Ms. Bidding, just to clarify, the $150,000 on the rate study was simply a budget number. We'll go through the bid process
Yes.
and the entire, and get the most responsible and responsive bid, that, just like we always do.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
We
great.
sure hope that it's much lower than
Right,
that.
okay, great. Clarify that. Any questions for Ms. Bidding? If not, the chair will entertain a motion to accept the budget as presented.
So moved.
Got a motion?
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. The shingle recycling program. We're going to put this guy through the ringer about this, I can tell you right now.
Mr. Chairman, did
Yes,
you
sir.
mention the public hearing we had yesterday?
Did not, but that is a good point. There was a public hearing scheduled for yesterday, and there was opportunity for public input, and there was none. Any further comments from the board, or?
No, sir.
Okay, but there
I
was,
just wanted to make note that that
thank you,
occurred.
and Ms. Creech did preside over that meeting, and any comments about the meeting?
I got an email that I read into the minutes from a lady that works with recycling, and she was very happy with us and wants us to keep our recycling programs, and I sent that to Ms. Cecil to put in another packet whenever you get that ready so everyone can see that. Otherwise, there was no public input.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the reminder, Mr. Graves. Mr. Hilling?
All right. The vendor that we had with, you need to get that, Cecil?
Yes, sir.
All right. The vendor we had that we've been doing shingle recycling with since 2011 is no longer doing it. It was ST Wooten in Wilmington. A couple things, with the virgin material is costing them less from what they're saying compared to when they were grinding the shingles, and they could, you know, put in a part of that in there, and that was helping them. Their inventory is just skyrocketed. They've said they've got years of shingles on the ground. I spent probably a good part of 30 days, talked to people down at the CRA conference in Wilmington down there, and talked to Wendy, I can't remember her last name, that she's really over it for North Carolina. She had one name that's in Lumberton, and they're so small they won't hardly take anything. Found one company in Charleston. They want $30 a ton to go through the gate. We average about 5,000 tons a year, so that'd be about $150,000 in disposal. Probably at least another 120 or more to transport it, so you'd be looking at $250,000 just to move them down there. So cost-wise, you just can't see taking those down there. And I've looked internet, checked all over, and cannot find anybody else that wants to take the shingles right now. Called the local companies, Southern Asphalt, Palmetto Paving. Nobody wants to do it around here locally anymore either. So, I mean, just the wear and tear on grinders is tremendous out there. Staff's asking if we get board approval to go ahead effective July 1 to put the shingles in the C&D cell out there, suspend the program, not cancel it, but suspend it. We'll continue to search and look for somebody, put the shingles in at a regular C&D rate of $26.50 a ton compared to the $19 a ton. If we get somebody that wants to get back into that type of work and we can find them and it's, you know, cost effective for us, we'll certainly bring that back, and we'd love to put that program back into place. But we're asking for your approval tonight. July 1, change the rate to $26.50 for the shingles and put them in the C&D cell out there.
After I saw that in the board packet, I did several hours of research on how that happens and talked with our Department of Commerce on the internet and looked at that and how they were doing it. And there are some different things that they are experimenting with to use the asphalt shingles with, but they're nowhere close to having that done. And you're right, there's no one that does want to take those. Even though barrels of oil have gone up, it would probably have to almost double before it would get back to where they would take that. So I understand why we're where we are. So there were just a few suggestions. We could choose not to take shingles. It's a C&D, and of course that's out of flow control, and people can just take them to other landfills in the area. We could also use the shingles, the tonnage that we are going to have to carry out to balance Charleston's. We could use as many shingles as we have available. I think we could use that as much as possible to take that out that we're paying to do. I agree, we certainly don't need to be giving any incentive anymore on that as a C&D item. And if we decided we didn't want it to go into the landfill, I think we should charge as much for those to come in as it would cost us to take them to another one. So those are just some of the thoughts that I had on that subject. Thank you.
Responses, Mr. Hilling, are those options viable?
We have considered where we need, if we need to top off the tractor trailer that we take over to Sandlands over there, put some of them in there. We have not considered not taking them. I think part of my question on that, if would that take other C and D away from us that we count on every day? Somebody said, well, they're not doing that, I'll just take everything over here. So I don't know if it'd have a negative effect on the other tonnage coming in here, so maybe consider that. But really, I mean, the big thing there, or the only thing we really thought about is filling up, you know, what goes out of here over to Sandlands to get them out of here that way.
How much, if we're gonna have the tipping fee at $26.50, what would the tipping fee somewhere else, what would they be charging to take that? 29?
That's what
Okay.
we're paying now for the rejects that we take from the C&D processor.
Okay. I agree, those are all good thoughts, and people may go on and take everything if they've got to take some of it. But I would like to send as much of that out as possible for the Charleston that we're removing.
Okay.
Mr. Hilling, how many shingles, how much in terms of tonnage would DHEC allow, are they allowing now for us to stage?
Well, when the inspector comes in, we get about 5,000 tons a year. That's what we've averaged probably for close to the last 10 years when I went back and looked at it, and it varies each year. Once that pile starts, and I can't really say how much tonnage is in there. It's out there by our glass pile right now. But it's about at the point when they come in, you know, and we don't really go out there and quantify it, but the inspector will say, well, you know, it's about time maybe move some shingles out of here. And, you know, we tried never to let it get there, but sometimes just the transportation company coming in would kind of get backed up, and we'd get backed up here. So, let's see, I'm trying to think, it went out probably about, I'd say about 1,200 tons maybe. That would be about the average when they'd go out of here, you know, each time they do it. And that pile was a pretty good size when she'd comment on it, 1,000 to 1,200 tons.
The guy that came by and ground the shingles for us, is he not doing that anymore? Same guy did concrete?
We haven't had him in here, and once we got with S.T. Wooten.
Right, but is he still around? Is that still available? Is that still an option?
Wayne, do you know his name? I don't. We have, since I've been here, I hadn't had anybody come in.
Because we were using them on the roads then.
Actually, the last shingle, we grind them ourselves.
Right. But I was just wondering that the cost comparison, if him or someone else is grinding it, or what it would cost us to grind them and put them on the road versus putting them in the landfill.
Like I said, I continue to look for that, but just trying to find somebody that just wanted to grind them, because it's such an abrasive material, and getting somebody to come out here to do it.
Oh, they want money. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
business. I mean, it can't be much more abrasive than concrete.
Let us check that out and bring it back to you
Thank you.
next board meeting.
Let me ask Wayne, Wayne, did we rent a grinder, or you said we were grinding them out?
We actually, ground them for quite a few years. What we've done is just got, wear our screens out before we change them.
With our own, we used our own grinder.
Okay.
We used our own grinder with all our screens, but we just used old screens. We just ground them small enough we could use them for daily cover or road bed material when it got weak.
The concern I have with that is our grinder's got 8,000 hours on it, and this year, we've put quite a bit of expense in there to keep it running. And I think if we add that material to it, it would really hurt us back there grinding the woodwork.
From a practical matter in topping off the loads to Sandland, do you think that would be an equal for everything coming in we could send out? Or would we start to reduce the excess that we have, or would we continue? Would we still have to send some to the landfill, I guess, was the question.
Yes, I can't say how much we would have to.
Mhm.
I mean, we'd have to get started on that, and, you know, I could probably get back and tell you about what we're putting in there.
We'll have a shingle thing on the next committee.
Great.
Mr. Chairman, I think, is there, I don't know, I'm not trying to advance anything, but would the public notice be appropriate if we voted to suspend the program and then had the solution part second later? Or what would be best if we're looking at July the 1st to make this change? More of a question than anything else.
That's a good one, yeah.
We'll go ahead and, put something out to the haulers and put signs at the Hill House that July 1st, shingles will be the higher price.
Okay. And then
That was our plan, right there, if
Okay.
it was approved tonight, to get something in the scale house and pass it out to the haulers to take back to, their managers or supervisors or owners.
Okay. I think the concern among the board is, obviously, the shingles going into the landfill and the long-term impact before they start to break down. And any options that we could explore, we'd like to see that done, to try to, if not eliminate, at least reduce the amount of shingles that are going into landfill.
You don't need us to vote on that before you put the sign up for the more money, do you? You just gonna do that? Okay, because we definitely need to do that.
Yep. Okay.
And basically what we're doing is taking the incentive out of it.
Right.
Because what shingles we were taking at lower price, what we considered clean.
Right.
Now, if somebody brought a load in and 2 befores in it and everything, then it went C&D at the high price. So we're just taking the incentive out to where somehow, you know,
In order to
Something we
change
can do.
the tipping fee, we do need board's approval. And that will be changing the tipping fee.
the tipping fee's already there.
I know the lower tipping fee is already there. In order for us to change the shingle tipping fee, we do need board's approval.
What's the tipping fee for
19 for shingles. Clean
clean
shingles.
shingle? Clean shingle?
Yes, it's $19 per ton,
What is it for the regular contaminated load of everything?
$26.50. This is
And-
the rate.
And if we take the incentive out, they not gonna take the trouble on the job site to separate the stuff. They gonna put it all in one truck. And that'll be the higher tipping fee. But if you wanna vote,
Right now, what he does is charge them as a contaminated load of $26.50 a ton. Right, Bill? If somebody comes in, it's
We
got
charge them
contaminated,
regular
you say they're
fee.
contaminated, so they gotta go $26.50 a ton.
Rather
The-
than
the-
incentive. That's
Rather than
going-
reduce it, put an incentive on it. It doesn't,
So we do need to
doesn't say
vote.
you get a reduction. It just says shingles are $19 a load, and they come in, contaminate bill says, well, they gotta go to C&D Hill, and it's $26.50.
So we do need a vote then to change that tipping fee. Chair will entertain a motion to authorize staff to change the tipping fee on the shingles based on discussion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Any items for the roundtable discussion from anybody? Seeing none, any need for executive session? Seeing none, any, yes, sir, Mr.
let
Knight.
me make one announcement. On June the 18th, they're having an appreciation dinner for James Frazier at Bucksport. And, they're they're pushing for a lot of folks to go, and if anybody would like to go, needs a ticket, get in touch with me
We're in Bucksport.
at the James Fraser Community Center.
Appropriate.
I don't, probably 7 o'clock, 7 or something like that, but. Yes, sir. Yeah, sitting on
June 18th, you say?
Yes.
On a Saturday?
Saturday night.
Okay, all right. Okay. Anything else from the group for the good of the board? Yes, Mr. Jones? Okay, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody.